This is 2 Timothy 3 and verse 1. And this is from the New Living Translation. The dangers of the last days. You should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there will be very difficult times. For the people will love only themselves and their money. They will be boastful and proud, scoffing at God, disobedient to their parents, and ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. They will be unloving and unforgiving. They will slander others and have no self-control. They will be cruel and hate what is good. They will betray their friends, be reckless, be puffed up with pride, and love pleasure rather than the Most High. They will act religious, but they will reject the power that could make them godly. It says, stay away from people like that. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kohalo Yamla, Allah Yanoah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who've labored faithfully in its truth and are indeed the true teachers of Israel today. Peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Habayath, Madabadada, House of David. The brothers labor to make their calling of election sure, day in and day out, helping seal the elect of the nation of Israel. For the return of our Lord Hamashiach Yahushai is at hand. And to the Akim and Akwath, who also listen and believe, the brothers and sisters who listen and believe on Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, to you I say shalom as well. So shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Brother Sagalah coming back with a brief lesson. This lesson won't be long, but it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah HaKodash, in the name of the Holy Spirit. So I'm going to jump right into it. As you see, this lesson is going to be centered around this article that's on the screen. And this is from a study that was done at Ohio State University. It says, narcissism is linked to aggression. Study found relationship across the board in all over the world. So it says narcissism. So we're going to be jumping into narcissism and how narcissism and Western culture, how Western culture breeds narcissism, you know. So this is a big part of the culture, which gets into what? You know, this culture that's pushed through Western culture, the love of self, social media, self-aggrandizement, etc. So all of these things push forth, you know, the ways of Western culture. This is the product of Western culture, which is why hence we have black culture, etc. So narcissism is linked to aggression, it said, the study found. It says across the board, and it says all over the world. Because see, the ways of Babylon has been pushed to all over the world. Western culture has been pushed to, you know, every nation throughout the earth. And many of the nations, the vast majority, have taken on, if not most, some of the ways of Babylon, which is a trickle-down effect, because slowly that turns into taking on more ways. That slowly takes on, turning to more of the philosophies of Babylon, the philosophies of Western culture, the philosophies of the Edomites. Now, going into the article, it says here, narcissism is linked to all forms of aggression, a new study has found. A comprehensive analysis of 437 studies from around the world provides the best evidence to date that narcissism is an important risk factor for both aggression and violence, researchers said. The link between narcissism and aggression was found for all dimensions of narcissism and for a variety of types of aggression. Results were similar regardless of age or of gender, age, whether they were college students or, it says, country of residence. And to have an impact, narcissism doesn't have to be at levels so high as to be pathological. Findings show that even when narcissism was within what is considered a normal range, higher levels were linked to aggression. It is a pretty straightforward message. Narcissism is a significant risk factor for aggressive and violent behavior across the board. So being a narcissist, the study found, was linked, you know, to aggression. What does it mean to be a narcissist? You know, and what does it mean to be a narcissist? You know, or narcissism? You know, what is narcissism? And what does it mean to be a narcissist? It says, we'll get to that here in a second. It said Brad Bushman, co-author of the study and professor of communication at The Ohio State University. The study was led by Sophie Karavik, a graduate student in communication at Ohio State. It was published on May 24th, 2021 in the journal Psychological Bulletin. The link we found between narcissism and aggression was significant. It was not trivial in size. It says the findings have important real-world implications. The researchers combined and analyzed data from many studies to provide a comprehensive view of the research area. In this meta-analysis, they examined data from 437 independent studies with a total of 123,043 participants. Narcissism is characterized by an overblown sense of self-importance, Bushman said. The key component of narcissism is entitlement. So that's the society we live in, which once again, they say it is pushed for all over the world, or is being shown in all of the world, no matter of country of origin, because Babylon, it shows that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The wicked is ruling. So the ways of the wicked is what's being pushed in the earth, which is narcissism, which all of these things really push, and keep a distance between the Most High and the world. It pushes against, it stands against righteousness. So the ways of this devil, the ways of the wicked is against righteousness. That's why he's known as Satan, or Shaitan in the Hebrew, which means adversary. Adverse to what? Righteousness. Adverse to truth. Adverse to life, etc. It says narcissism is characterized by an overblown sense of self-importance. Bushman said the key component of narcissism is entitlement. And you can't tell me that that doesn't, exemplify what it means for the people in America. They have a great sense of entitlement. Narcissism also has two proverbial components: grandiose, those with high self-esteem, and vulnerable, those with low self-esteem. It says the study found all these components were linked to aggression. So it says how narcissism is linked to all forms of aggression. Narcissism. Now, let's get the definition of narcissism. The definition of narcissism, we're going to jump right into the meat of this lesson. The definition of narcissism, is excessive interest in or admiration of oneself in one's physical appearance. So, great love of oneself, in one's appearance is the definition of narcissism. I read it again. Definition of narcissism: excessive interest in or admiration of oneself is when you care, you admire only yourself. You care for yourself more than anything else. And see, that way of thinking, which is Western culture and is linked to Western culture, is totally against, the teachings of the Holy Scriptures, the teachings of righteousness, which is the Bible. The Bible is the only true teaching of righteousness on the planet. Everything else is tainted and polluted and diluted. So narcissism, which is linked to Western culture, is against everything that's right, everything that is Yahweh Shem Yahweh. So this excessive interest and admiration of oneself is shown through social media. That's why there's so many social media platforms, and social media pushes forth what? Everything being about yourself. That's why you can go to some person's profile or go to to their page, and you'll see hundreds, if not thousands, of pictures, and the vast majority of them are pictures of that person. Self-admiration, grandiose thinking. So you also see, nothing but self-promotion. Everything being about you, the individual, not about the Most High, not about righteousness, not about truth. So some of the synonyms for narcissism is vanity, and vanity really goes back to emptiness, to being lacking, or being empty. So vanity is one of the synonyms. Self-absorption, being self-absorbed, only thinking about yourself. egomaniac, being an egomaniac, a person, which is me. This me culture, this Me Too culture, which is all these things are linked to Western culture. Conceit and pride. And that's the epitome, and the thing that the Lord hates the most, which is pride. So the pride of this place is what's going to be the destruction, because the Lord said in Isaiah the 13th chapter that he was going to cause all the pride to cease, and all of the haughtiness of the people is going to cease. So now, this is narcissism, and this is the society we live in. So let's get that further. Now, this is narcissism on the online etymology dictionary, which is the true meaning of words. The etymology is the true meaning of words. So let's get the understanding. So narcissism, it says, is from German Narcissism, coined in 1899. It says by a German psychiatrist, which it says his name was Paul Niquet. And then it says on a comparison suggested in 1898 by Havelock Ellis from Greek Narcissus, name of a beautiful youth in mythology. So this, first of all, is mythological. So you're going back to the time of the Greeks, you're going back into mythology, which is something that's not true, a myth. So Greek mythology is where we get the origins of narcissism. And then it says metamorphosis. So then it morphed and grew from there. It grew from where? From Greek mythology, which is really Greco-Roman mythology, because the Romans took on a lot of the ways of the Greeks. So now, it says, who fell in love with his own reflection in a spring and was turned to the flower Narcissus, which there's a flower called Narcissus. So that's the Greek mythology, origin of narcissism. This is Narcissus himself. It says Narcissus himself as a figure of self-love is a test by 1767. It says Coleridge using the word in a letter from 1822. But already Krishna, enamored of himself and resolved to experience lust for his own self. See, self-love, lust of oneself. It says he manifested his own nature in the cowherd girls and enjoyed them. So now, narcissism, as we see here on the screen, self-love, promotion of oneself. Now this is totally against what is righteous and what is true, which is what's found in the Holy Scriptures. So now, narcissism. It says that it's linked to all forms of aggression. So let's go back. Let's get this. This video, once again, won't be very long. 2 Timothy 3:1. This is in, and I started off the chapter with this, and I'm going to go through it briefly and just hit some points. 2 Timothy 3:1, it says, and this is in the NLT version, the New Living Translation. You should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there will be difficult times. For the people will love only themselves. They will only love themselves, meaning they will be narcissistic. They will be narcissists. So to be a narcissist, is to be a lover of only yourself. Once again, Western culture and this whole push going into social media, and this culture of media that pushes forth, things very heavily, like reality TV. All that speaks heavily into narcissism. So it says the people will be lovers only of themselves and their money. And that's another sign of narcissism. People only love themselves and what? Materialism. So love of oneself and materialism, is another part of those people who are heavily narcissists, which it says is leading to heavy aggression and violence. They will be boastful and proud. The people are proud. There you go. That's another part of narcissism, as we see, being proud, scoffing at God, believing and talking against righteousness, talking against spirituality. So people will become what? More carnal and not spiritual. And we see that very heavily on the planet, that the vast majority of people on the planet are not spiritual. They are carnal, meaning They're of the flesh. And there was a study that just came out on RT News where it said about almost half of the people, of the millennials today, which would be the people somewhere around 20 through their mid 30s, half of the millennials, don't even believe that God exists, and I think a little less, maybe 35 to 40% of all age groups of people believing that God doesn't exist, that there's no higher power, which is all tied to narcissism, being proud, boastful, lovers in only yourself, lovers in money, materialism. And now it goes on to say in 2 Timothy 3:2, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful. It says they will consider nothing sacred. They won't consider nothing righteous. It says they will be unloving and unforgiving. They will slander others and have no self-control. And that's this society. Why I read this in the NLT. They will be cruel and hate what is good. See, the people on this earth, they hate righteousness. So when they see, the men of the Lord and our people waking up, the vast majority of the people on this planet, are against, righteousness. They're haters of things that are good. And what are those good things? The truth, putting away wickedness, coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments, serving the Lord and worshiping Him in spirit and in truth, acknowledging Him, not oneself, giving Him all the honor, glory, and praise. We're going to get to that in a second. So now, let's continue on. 2 Timothy 3, in verse 4, it says, they will betray their friends, be reckless, be puffed up. See, that's pride. With pride, puffed up with pride, we see pride as being linked to narcissism, being puffed up with pride, being lovers of oneself. See, pride starts to seep in there. And love pleasures rather than God. See, people love to please themselves rather than the Most High. They don't even acknowledge the Most High. You see? So now it says, they will act religious. Meaning they will speak with their lips. They do honor me, but their hearts are far from me. So the people here speak as if they believe. They speak as if they believe in righteousness, if they believe in God. And but when the truth comes out, it shows forth that the people don't believe because they don't do any of the things and follow none of the principles of righteousness, which is in the Holy Scriptures, which is in the Bible. That's just like here in Babylon, they'll tell you that you gotta that in God they trust. This is in all the courtrooms and a lot of the institutions. More specifically in the courtrooms, they'll say in God we trust, but they don't keep none of the laws. They break every law that God said to keep. So it says they will reject the power that could make them godly and stay away from the people like that. So they reject righteousness, So they reject righteousness. So that's showing you that this is a narcissistic society once again. Let's get a few precepts and close it out. Let's go to the book of Revelation. It's the book of Revelation 4 in verse 11. Speaking of narcissism, it says, thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory, honor, and power. It didn't say man. It says, thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory, Salakia, honor, and power. For thou hast created all things. The Most High is worthy of all the honor, glory, and praise. Why? For thou hast created all things, because He made everything. It was through His will that all things exist. And it says, and for thy pleasure, they are and were created. So all things were created for the will and the pleasure of the Most High. Not for man to glory in himself, but to glory in the Most High. So let's get that. It's the book of Jeremiah 9:24. It says, but let him that glorieth glory in this. So if we glory in anything, we're supposed to glory in this, the Lord said through Jeremiah. That he understandeth and knoweth me. That he understandeth and knoweth me. We're supposed to glory in understanding and knowing the Most High. Meaning to glorify Him, His words, His truth, His law, statutes, and commandments, His judgments. That I am the Lord Yahweh, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So the Lord delights in those that give Him all the honor, glory, and praise. And there's countless precepts to speak about, how we're supposed to give the Most High honor, all the honor, glory, and praise. Because that's what the Most High delights in. is to be praised. He created man to praise and worship him, not to praise and worship themselves or materialism or the ways of the world, which we see why narcissism is very heavily, concentrated in the earth. Why the people, the vast majority of the people, believe in themselves, love themselves. Why they don't believe that God exists. Why they love materialism, etc. So with that, I hope that was edifying. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakaha Kodash. Double honor to the elders and apostles who believe faithfully in this truth and are the true teachers of Israel today. Peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Habayath Madabadah, the house of David. And to the Akim and Agwath, who also listen and believe on Mashiach Yahushai. To you, I say shalom as well. So shalom to the hopeful elect. Abba Babal.